Welcome to Master Muse Cain Culto. I am so excited to have you here today.
Oh, me too. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for making this happen.
I think this is going to be super great. I actually happened upon a TikTok of your latest promo for the song that's coming out March 13th. And I was like, oh my God, who is this? Why have I never seen this person before? Because it's literally all I do on TikTok is scroll, looking for artists, looking for new music, something that I can enjoy and love and hopefully talk to. And I did not understand why I had never seen you before.
Crazy.
Everyone should know who you are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've actually kind of been in hiding for a little bit as I've been working on this new record. So I have not been active on social media.
Okay, well, I am pumped. Instead of starting where we are right now, which is a great place for you as far as I'm concerned, let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about where you started with music. What was your first influences? Now, I understand you have kind of a similar background to me, probably grew up in the church.
Mhm.
So was that your introduction to music?
I think it was. I grew up in a very musical household. My dad is a musician. He plays guitar. So a Latino household, they're always playing music. We gather around dancing, we gather around celebration. So I think as a kid, my parents saw that I was this art weirdo, just like as a kid, so obsessed with creating, even at such like a childhood age. So they just like fed that, and it started with visual art, and then it transferred into music.
Okay, so did you take piano lessons, guitar lessons, any kind of, or were they just allowing you to explore at home with what we had at home? Do we have instruments at home?
So really, music didn't start until later. My parents put me in a charter art school. So there I was a
Oh,
visual
wow.
arts major. So my first love was always just like drawing, sculpture. And that's like a huge part of even my artist now as Cain Culto. It's expression through the visual side of things. But yeah, and then I had to choose a minor and I chose violin. By that time we had moved to Kentucky. So I got to learn the fiddle a little bit.
Wow. Okay, so where were you born?
I was born in Florida, Boynton
Me
Beach.
too.
Oh yeah, what
I was
part?
born in Jacksonville.
Oh wow, cool. So sick.
So when you went to the charter school, was this like middle school, high school age?
So it was at 5 years old we moved to Kentucky, and it was like an elementary through
Oh,
high
wow.
school. Yeah, they started them young. It was fourth grade all the way through high school, and it's called Scapa. Shout out. But yeah, it was like a little program where each you choose like a foundational major like visual art, dance, music, drama, whatever. So I auditioned for visual art because I was just like a compulsive drawer as a kid. And my parents were like, we need to, feed this and like really help them cultivate it. And so I auditioned.
You had to audition?
Yeah, only like
That's a,
five kids made it per year per program.
wow.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so
like
did
cool.
you feel special? I mean, because I have a son who plays baseball, right? And he's pretty good and he gets a lot of accolades. And sometimes I wonder like how he's taking that in, how he's receiving that as a 7-year-old and what that does to a little tiny kid for people to be like, oh my God, what you do is so amazing. Do you remember how you felt when you went into that audition process?
I remember it's funny. My mom is amazing in the sense that she pushes me even when I didn't realize I wanted it. I wanted to stay in my school. I had my friends. I was like, "What? How old are you in fourth grade? Like 10?
Fourth
Young,
grade, like 9,
9,
10.
8, 10? Yeah." So I didn't want to audition, and she was like, "You're gonna," because we had to submit like a self portrait, a landscape, like a whole thing. And I was like, "I don't want to. Whatever. I'll do it for you." And then I got to the school, and I was like, "Oh shoot, this is cool. Like this is like a real program." And then I
It
wanted
sounds
it.
like magic to me.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I have kids, I'm putting them in magnet art school. Like it truly, I believe, can change lives and just exposure to culture, to more openness. And it was honestly my safe haven because I did grow up in a very, although my parents supported me creatively, they're like fundamentalist evangelical as well. So there's
Mm,
that friction, and art
hmm.
school became, my mom probably regrets putting me in it now, but
No.
but it became like a safe place for me, as a queer kid.
Well, I mean, as a parent, I want safe places for
Of
queer
course,
kids.
of course, yeah.
Um, I would hope all parents want that. And I know that the Christianity, how do I say that?
It's hard. It's hard.
It's a weird space because they think that they're protecting you
Exactly.
and not stifling you and not trying to put you in a box that you don't belong in and not preventing you to be your true authentic selves. That's not what they think that they're doing.
Exactly.
And yet,
It's complicated because, further along in my story, I went to seminary. I like really immersed myself in Christianity and in evangelicalism. Probably working through my queerness and all of that was the motivation. But my point is, a lot of these people are motivated with good intentions and they mean well. Like, it's not
right,
all these like hateful bigots that just want to like see gay people burn. Like, it's not. Like, they
right,
genuinely think they're loving you or they're trying
right,
to help
right.
you.
They do think they're loving you.
They do. And my parents are loving people in that sense. So that's why it's such a complicated relationship, because I try to have understanding and see it from their perspective, and like they mean well, but it is triggering and it hurts me. But I
Right,
know they're trying their best as well. And we're different generations and we have different upbringings and different backgrounds. Like, so I always try to keep empathy and not just get bitter, but it's hard as a queer person. It's hard.
right. Okay, so being a queer kid in an art school, freedom of expression,
Totally.
encouraged expression.
Totally.
Um, and then you took up like the violin or the fiddle. Is playing, I mean, I know playing the fiddle and the violin is different, but it's not, is it a different instrument?
Yeah, it's the same instrument. It's just
Okay.
like the
It's the way
traditions
you
and the
play.
history. Yeah, exactly. So growing up in Kentucky, bluegrass is kind of the music of
Yeah.
that region. And it was cool. My dad, one of my friends in art school, she had this private teacher. And I just remembered, I'm trained in the violin as well. Like I studied Suzuki and classical, but I never loved it as much as just the improv, the grit of the fiddle. It's just so like, to me, emotional, and it had this movement to it. It just like moved me in a different way. And so my dad was like, well, let's apply. Let's see if he'll like take you. And so cute. He was like, we wrote up like a little bio. We're like, we'll be your first Latino fiddle student, you know? I don't know if we were, but it was just like we were trying whatever to get his attention.
Yes.
And and he was like, yeah, I'll take you as a private student. And so that was huge for 15 years, just training in the fiddle.
Wow. Okay, what kind of student were you when it came to,
Bad.
yeah.
I did not practice.
Okay.
And I was really bad. But also I was spread thin. Like music was part of my love, but I was a visual artist as well as like at my core. So I never had the discipline to like get probably as good as I should be now on the fiddle. And I regret that. I do. But I have enough. Like I produce myself and it opened like a lot of my ear and my musicality to get to where I am now. So I wish I had discipline then, but it's actually been something I've been learning more recently in life. Just like really taking discipline seriously.
I mean, I think, okay, so when I tell a story in every single one of my podcasts, and I always cut it out, but um, I started playing the piano when I was 11 because somebody taught me Heart and Soul. You know,
Oh,
heart
cool.
and soul, I fell in love with you, now I know. Anyway, it's a little two-handed little ditty that you can play with somebody else, right? And then I taught myself. I wrote a piece of ditty in my right hand using the little left hand notes. And my mother was like, "What have you done? What's that?" And I was like, "Do you like it? Is that fun?" And so obviously I played by ear. And I didn't know that. I went to piano lessons. And so she would play it for me. And then I would play it back for her. I understood that it matched what was on the paper, but it was so much easier if she would just play it for me first.
Yes, yeah, totally. That was me.
And so it didn't make me a great reader of music
Great
and
reader,
therefore
yeah.
not really a great student because I could hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you can do an automatic playback in your head. It was like, oh, that. And then it's like, even if you're kind of fudge it a little in the beginning. Like you can get it, and maybe you can even make it better, in my opinion. So it does, from what the conversations that I've had with people who play by ear, they're not as good of a student, but
Yeah.
there are certain teachers that go, I see what you're doing. McKaylen Hay interview, I think, I don't know, she's going to be the fourth interview. She plays by ear, and she had a teacher that she got further along in her teaching days. And he went, I know what you're doing. And she
Hmm.
was like, what? He was like, stop doing that. That's lazy. I need you to do it, whatever. And like, and really pressed in her. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, where was that teacher for me and for you to push us so that we could be like, we'd be
No.
prodigies
Yeah.
probably.
No, it's true. And my parents did try. Like they really were pushing me in excellence always. And I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, I was just a little jit kid that didn't want to practice.
Right.
But yeah.
It's not fun. And
Yeah,
in
it's
the
not fun.
creative process, it's like, well, the reason that we do it is because it's fun and it feels
Totally.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you took violin, I mean, you learned, but you weren't the best student. Did you think, I'm going to make music for the Lord for the rest of my life?
It's funny, that kind of came in during university. So like that's skipping through high school. High school we moved back to Florida and we auditioned for another like magnet art school. And there I majored in photography and fashion kind of. Sculptural kind of fashion stuff.
I'm very
And that
jealous of
was
your schooling.
so fun. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like these magnet art schools are to me like a must for students if you have a creative kid. Like
Right.
truly just like that immersion from a young age just changed my whole perspective on life. And so yeah, so I did that, and I thought I was going to go to New York and study, fashion marketing. um you know s- Universities would come to that school and scout students, and I was building relationships, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I kind of had this like moment of like friction of just like, oh, I'm feel myself pulling away from my upbringing, my Christianity, my at that point very
Mm-hmm.
real faith in God.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel this pull, and I think I was wrestling with my own queerness.
Had you told your parents at that point
I had
or
not,
no?
no, totally
Yeah.
closeted, yeah. And then so there was
Did you
that.
have anybody that knew?
No, no one. Actually, no
Okay,
one.
that's always one of my questions, and I don't want to make this whole episode about queerness, but I wonder sometimes about the kids that aren't telling a soul,
Yeah,
especially in the church when the church has a very specific, not all, but some churches have a very specific idea of what they think about queerness in general,
yeah.
and the trouble, the sin,
Hmm.
the doom. I mean, I had a friend come out to me at some point in my life and was like, and I knew them in church, and they said, well, I mean, I'm aware I'm going to hell now. And I was
Yeah,
like, whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
And I was like, I do not believe that at all. He's like, yes, you do. Yes, you do, Heather. You grew up in the same church that I did. I was like, no, I can't. I know. I believe in a loving God, and I believe in a God who does not give a flying about that.
I
But
mean,
that's
I got chills hearing you say that because for me, we're like jumping around in my story, but towards the
it's
end,
okay.
yeah, it's fine. Towards the end of university at Bible school, I minored in biblical studies. Um, my break away from Christianity, this was during Trump's first presidency and everything. It was, the church's response to BLM. It was me, having frustrations with the church that I was employed in and how they were treating women and women's place in the church. All of that was part of it. Ironically, queerness wasn't, because it felt too selfish for me. Like I was like, like obviously I would want queerness to be accepted, but it felt like a selfish cause for me. But the thing that truly like broke everything for me was doctrine of eternal damnation. And I was, touring at that point in a Christian band, and
Which we will talk about.
I think my life was just going too fast and everything, but I literally did have a mental break, and I found myself in the hospital, fully split from reality. And it was because specifically I took hell seriously. And I think and I always tell people this, I think most Christians don't actually believe in hell, because to be a truly empathetic person and to like put yourself in the place that someone is going to be eternally suffering because of choices they made in like a short life is truly insane. And just like my empathy could not hold it. My heart literally broke. My brain shattered. I was like,
Or that you could say, you could live your entire life however you choose.
yeah,
But as long as, if you have some kind of inkling that right before you die, that you could be like, oh Lord Jesus, save me and forgive me of my sins because I know not what I've done, then blink and you're in
yeah.
heaven.
A lot of it
Like, it
doesn't,
has
yeah,
nothing to do
yeah,
with how we live our lives or the way that we treat people, or how we love ourselves and to others. I mean, yeah, there's so much here, because I was like writing down when I was looking at the ecclesia, and I was looking at lavish, and it was like this repeating idea of, I don't deserve your love, I don't deserve
yeah.
your love. And when I
So
had my
crazy.
own personal break, was like, why, and this is gonna make me really emotional, why don't I deserve your love
Yeah,
if you made me?
yeah. Wow.
Like, if you designed me and you picked everything about me, like my parents have been telling me since I was a child,
Yeah,
if you made me this way, why don't I deserve your love? Why do I have to earn
yeah,
or be worthy of being in your presence?
yeah. It's heavy. It's
It's just, it really, really blows me away. And so when I read that, and I've read some of your story, obviously, before we had this interview, and I was like, God, it's just, it's it's sad that there are other people who have had the similar or same experience that I have had in growing up away, believing in a God that was just your everything,
yeah.
and then realizing that there was a religion involved in that God that made you feel less than. And why would I believe in that?
It's hard, and a lot of my journey has been, I think we put a lot on evangelical nationalism, and that's like its own doctrine, and it has its own baggage and harmful ideologies. But it's also been beautiful. Like, my art does have a lot of resistance and critique on religion for sure because of the state we are in our nation. But it's also been beautiful to find communities and pockets of people that, I guess I always say, religion is a mirror in many ways. Like, whatever you have and what we bring to it is what it becomes for us. And so we, like a lot of biases, we read into the text, we read into our doctrine and theology. And so, although I am heavily critical of organized religion, there is still a mystic in me that holds the teachings of Jesus really closely as well. Like, I find him to be a radical. I find him to be a person that stood up to empire, and a person that spoke of like radical love in a way that I think is still important today. So yeah, I have a complicated relationship with it. It's like it's the thing that motivates the art that I'm still creating now.
Yeah.
Because I that's so core to who I am, and I will never shed that. But I can also critique all of it at the same time.
I feel like that's part of it. Being able to have an opinion, being able to say, I have a question about that.
Yeah,
Raising your hand and like, I don't know if that really aligns with, because I think what the thing that I had to come to, because I really struggled for a while, I was like, I feel like I can't even pray anymore.
yeah,
And prayer was such a thing that was so integral in my daily life, and in every moment really of my
totally.
existence until I was, I don't know, in my 40s. And I was like, now how do I move through life?
Hmm.
And so then that's where music came back in, and like
Oh wow.
was like, oh, okay. So if there is a God, um, and I'm not the person to say yay or nay,
Mm.
but if there is a God, I believe that God is a hand to hold and arms to carry.
Beautiful. Yeah,
And that is his purpose. His purpose is, I of course I love you. I love you as you are. I understand that we're all, as humans, flawed, and I could never expect you to be perfect, or like the idea of perfect. I won't even say like God. But if ever you question your importance or your purpose.
Yeah.
Know that I created you and wanted you to be here. So the space that you take up is absolutely important and necessary. And if you ever need me, I will hold your hand. And if you ever can't make it through life, I will carry you until you get to the other side of being able to do whatever, the next part of your life, because we have times where we can't.
Yeah. And the mystic in me like totally resonates with what you're saying. I think that's what I hold on to. I think love is ultimate reality. And I think we all arrive that way and arrive to that place in different ways. Um, yeah. And it's beautiful. Some days I wake up and I'm a nihilist and there is no afterlife. All there is what is now. And some days it feels like everything is synchronistic and I'm falling into this beautiful path that's been set out for me. I don't know. And I like to keep the mystery to it, you know?
Well, I mean, we can't. That's the thing.
Well,
You
that's what
can't
mystic,
really
that's what
know.
true, like, I think true mature spirituality is. I don't know, but I'm here. And it's very tactile. It's what's in front of me. What can I do to help the marginalized, to connect,
Right.
to heal? Like, I think that's the highest level of spirituality gets really simple like that.
Okay, so tell me about being the process of being in Ecclesia. I mean, I looked up your discography with Ecclesia, and uh it was pretty freaking darn successful.
Oh, thank you.
And the music was beautiful outside of the parts where I go, oh, I wrote I wrote that song too. Oh,
Oh my
like I
god.
have, I had so many. I want to walk worthy, or worthy of standing in your presence. If only I could be, deserving of fill in the blank. And yeah, so much of that, the worthiness and the acceptance, and yeah. And so that was hard
Yeah.
to just feel the longing of like, how can I be close to you and with you and not be wrong
Yeah, real.
somehow.
No, yeah, I think you hear, it's funny listening to my old music, you hear all of that tension that I was holding in myself. The shame,
Yeah.
the I was just working through a lot of confusion and
Eyes only for you and narrow gate.
yeah, it's crazy. That's so funny. I'm going back to that time in my life. Feels so different, but yeah, that was definitely part of my journey and I think I had to go through that to arrive to the place that I am now.
Yes. What was that like for you then, having that kind of success? You were a teen. Were you a worship leader?
Yeah.
Is that how you were touring, as a worship leader?
I mean, yeah, I was a worship leader at my university, part of the student-led kind of worship weekly gathering, and then I was also employed at a church as the young adults like worship leader. And then like the last year, 2 years of university, uh, my personal music, the Ecclesia project, started taking off.
Oh, it's Ecclesia. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
either way, Ecclesiastes. I mean, whatever. But yeah, Ecclesia. It started taking off, and that opened a lot of doors to travel, and um, yeah, it was crazy. It was. I kind of didn't expect it to happen. I was kind of just like making music with my friends, but then it got real all of a sudden, and it was exciting.
All right. When did you get to the point where you were like, I don't know that I believe everything that I was taught,
Yeah, it
and
was.
what am I going to do with that?
Well, I'm a pusher, and I ruffle feathers naturally. Like I challenge. I'm a challenger. That's the word for it. And
Mm.
even in Ecclesia, I feel like you can hear I'm kind of critiquing the church. In a way, I'm challenging, as well as the songs that I'm singing about my personal relationship with God. I'm kind of questioning the state of the church in America at the time. And so, like I mentioned earlier, it was kind of pushing back against pastoral leadership on doctrine on like women not being able to teach or hold positions of authority. Like that was the first kind of front of like, this is off. Like, I don't agree with that. And so I began to push back on that and kind of connect with more progressive circles, more Pentecostal charismatic circles where they did allow women to have leadership. And so that was kind of the first me shaking up space and making enemies a little bit, maybe where Culto kind of birthed, the villain of this person that is, causing friction and people are mad at him. So I started going to a small house church that was led by a woman pastor, and that was at the time like huge for me and like very progressive. Now it seems so
Yeah.
silly, but I was like,
No, but if you took that from a Southern Baptist, I just had this question come up recently. My ex wants to take I have two little children, and I have grown children too, but I have two little children. He wanted to take him to church, and I'm like, I'm not sure. I got some questions. And so I
yeah,
laid out a whole bunch of questions. And one of the questions was, do they allow women in leadership roles?
yeah,
How do they feel about the queer community? And, and several other questions. I have a problem with the word sin.
yeah, totally.
We can't make a mistake.
Yeah, no,
We're sinning against God. I'm doing it against God.
yeah. It's hard to find community outside of church, first of all,
It is.
So it's like, I understand why people lean on that, and I
Yeah.
have a lot of understanding. But yeah, there's like insidious things that are harmful to kids, to queer kids, to kids of different backgrounds. Even just like, we can get into the whole, like, as a Latino, unpacking a lot of the shame of like my indigenous background. And like one story I remember, we had these beautiful like vases from Nicaragua. My mom's Nicaraguan, and they had these like fertility corn goddesses on, like, painted on them, like, and I remember as a kid being like, and I always say this, like, trust what moves you, like what draws you, like
Mhm.
symbols and art, like chase that spark of joy. And for some reason I was so mesmerized by these images, and then I remember my parents kind of being like, well, that's like those are deities, those are like false gods, of course. And I was like, I don't know, like, it feels beautiful. I mean, isn't that our history? Like, didn't we come, like, that's, and I don't know if I had the language at the time, but I was
Right.
wrestling with all of that. And it's funny, like, full circle now with Cain Culto, I feel like a lot of the topics are reclaiming this connection to the earth that our indigenous ancestors had, reconnecting with a spirituality that understands cycle and understands connection, like we're all connected. And if we're acting in this capitalistic way of lack of being conscious of how our actions are harming the earth, we're harming ourselves, so all these things are things we need now as a society. And our nation, whether we are personally Christian or not, our nation has that history, and we
Mhm.
have to unpack our trauma with colonization and the demonization of these indigenous truths and wisdom that we have like actively rejected as a society.
Yeah, like we've forgotten it.
It's like forgotten, like, wisdom, truly.
Yeah. Okay, so when did you decide that Cain Culto was now going to be, oh, that's the end of that sentence. To be.
Yeah, to be. Yeah, it's funny because people ask, because it is a very specific moment where I can point to and say, like, that was the birth of this. Yeah, it's a persona. It's a
Mhm.
name. It's what I make my art under. But it is like a core shift in my being that, like, I tapped into. And it
It's
was,
your Sasha Fierce.
yeah, yeah, my Sasha Fierce. It's exactly, that's so funny. Um, but I mentioned before, there was a moment where I had a mental break, and
Mhm.
I completely split from reality because of the weight of my suppression of my queerness, of the pace that I was going, the shame that I felt, um, and my fear of being evil, of going to hell, like being like, oh my gosh, I'm gay. I am evil at my core. Like, I am,
Evil.
yeah,
God,
yeah,
that is
truly. And then,
heavy.
the moment was specifically, I was hospitalized. I was not in my right mind. Um, and my church and my parents were doing the best that they could, and they brought an exorcist to the hospital room. And I specifically remember just being surrounded by this feeling of just darkness all around me. And just like the Bible was like on me, like this demon of homosexuality, we like command you to leave. This like all this like weight around me. And I couldn't tell what reality was at that moment. I was split completely. So I had no footing. Um, and I remember specifically a moment where it felt like truly extreme, like the darkest I felt of like, what is true? Am I the source of evil, even, you know? And I just remember something I just decided in that moment that no one's going to tell me as they're telling me, like, you know, this demon, leave. And I didn't have the clarity that I have now, but I know it was that moment where I decided, no, I'm trusting what's in me. And I kind of remember like yelling and kind of like something just snapped in me that I was like, no, this is me. And I'm going to accept what I know, like trust my body, trust my intuition in a way that I was rejecting. And so then, you know, time passes and I return to sanity and I gain perspective and I realize like whatever led me to that place of brokenness and rock bottom, I have to like shift completely my life. And it was like a year of truly rapidly cutting off ties and just like, fuck this, dude. Like I have one life and I need to like live it authentically and accept the power that I know is within me that I've been so afraid of.
I think that is such a hard thing for so many people to do, especially when you're leaving friends and or family who have been saying I love you, but or you know that if you did it, and I'm like, okay, I can't really walk that way with you, but how did you, I mean, do you feel like you had to develop certain skills in order to be able to say, this is the direction that I'm going and you can't come with me? I
It
mean,
took
I'm
time. It
assuming
was a
you're not,
process. It
yeah.
wasn't immediately. There was still fear, you know, like in trusting yourself. It's such a fucking scary thing, you know,
Well,
like
but we're not taught being raised in the church, and
yeah,
I'll speak from my personal experience.
yeah,
I was not taught to think for myself.
yeah,
I was taught that God would
exactly,
tell me.
exactly.
He would tell me. It was like, well, I don't know what I want to do about that. Let me pray about it. Meaning, I couldn't make that decision by myself. And I remember watching families with men who, were the providers for their family. Their wives stayed at home and took care of the children. They were homemakers, almost all of them, like, 50 families in my church, and all of them are homemakers. And, these men that were waiting for God to get them a job.
Yeah,
And I'd go get the job, sir. My daddy does, my dad worked 15, 18 hours a day when he had to, working overtime to provide for our family. But there were families in our church that I criticized as a 9-year-old, because I'm thinking, well, Jesus isn't going to hand you the job.
yeah,
But they thought, they were waiting on, like, and it really was just like word of mouth. Oh, did you hear that Joe has been out of a job for 6 months? Could you give him a little something? And then that was God answering your question. And I was like, all of this, don't y'all think for yourselves? And I was very much the child. I was in first grade and I was raising my hand to Mrs. Goings going, you were just rude to Tommy. You need to apologize.
yeah.
And my parents were like, she did what?
Mhm.
They didn't know why I would question authority ever. So, I was always thinking it was strange, but to pull myself out of that entirely, where I was thinking for myself all the time, yeah, well, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's exactly to me a big part of why I do what I do. It's free thought, and I think Cain Culto is a symbol for that. Culto, it is to, you know, I'm talking about cults. I'm talking about
Mhm.
high control religion. I'm talking about fundamentalism, things that prevent free thought and creativity, expansion, exploration. Like that's what I am. That's what I stand for. That's what has been my liberation and what I hope to inspire in other people. So it is. Cain Culto is a call to free thinking, to challenge authority, And in this new song KFC Santeria, it's challenging empire, it's challenging the current administration, it's resistance. Yeah.
It's a vibe too. It is so good. I cannot wait to hear it in its entirety. I mean, I've watched it 80,000 times since literally just found it the other day, and I've watched it over and over. I'm like, guys, have you heard this? 'Cause my kids are 25 and 20. I'm like, have you heard? And they're like, yeah, mom, it's really good. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk to you about Saturday.
Thank you, Heather. That's so sweet.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
so exciting. I mean it. Um, okay, you are a very gifted songwriter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell me about, and the production is good and your marketing is really good. Is that just because you're creative? Is that because you went to magnet schools? Is that, I mean, how and why are you so good at this already?
Thank you. It's funny that you say all that. I think it's just I've picked up different gifts in different times of my life, and so, like, when I went to university, I minored in biblical studies, but my major was marketing. So it's like that's a tool in my back pocket. And then production, it built from me just learning to songwrite in ecclesia. Like, a lot of those songs are not great. You have to, as a creative, you just have to create and put it out in the world, and you get better. And I hope years from now I look back at the stuff I'm releasing now, and I've grown as well. So
Are you producing all of your songs? Do you have help with that? Where and when are you doing this?
yeah, I've collaborated with different co-producers in the past, but a lot of the new work I've done the bulk of the production myself, and then I bring in someone to help me, like, clean it up and refine it. So for this song, that was my friend Nate Young, in Mexico. He's an amazing producer and mixing engineer. So I'm truly terrible at mixing and mastering. So my label was kind of like, okay, we love your instinct with production, but it needs that final, like, wrapping up and that, like, finishing touches that it's hard to do on
Yeah.
your own without perspective. Like, it's such a gift to have a second set of ears and just kind of someone that isn't so lost in the work that they can help you finish it. So Nate has been that for KFC and a couple of the other songs I'm going to release. And then more recently, I've been collaborating with a new friend, Carrie Singer, in LA. And we've been, the process is usually I bring the songs written, and then most of the production is there. And then he's, like, cleaning it up. Like, and sometimes it sounds like a completely different song, just because I feel like great art often is kind of the simmering down to the core idea you're trying to get to, and, like,
Mhm.
removing
The
excess, the
noise.
noise, till you get to, like, oh,
Right.
this is the core idea that we're trying to
Right.
communicate. And I feel like I've grown in, like, we're talking about, growing in excellence. Like, yeah, that's this year I've grown so much as a producer, just studying and just being immersed with these two other great co-producers. Like, I can say my own production skills have increased even since, producing KFC Santeria.
What's one thing that you have learned in the last year that you didn't know
Um,
that has really helped? Do you feel like will really help you in your future?
well, first of all, I've been producing all my demos with a Bluetooth speaker. So that is, like, horrible, and that affects the
Oh,
way sound, like, sits in all the, like, space.
okay.
And so I've gotten, like, a legit set of speakers. So that has just opened up production. I'm like, oh, there's space at the top end for hi-hats, and the vocal can fit here. There's room here in the mids and the lows for bass. So I think
Oh,
I guess that's mixing. I'm
okay.
I'm growing as a mixer a little bit, but what have I learned? I guess um I've been chasing a specific sound for a while. For years. I mean, even since university, I've been saying this. I want to make this, like, percussive driven record where I just hear
Mm,
hand drums. I hear, like, polyrhythms, and, like, it's dark, but it's also earthy and dance. Like, it has a joy to it. There's a dance to it.
yeah.
I've been chasing that sound and never being able to manifest it how I hear it, just because of
Oh,
my.
you're gonna find the person. I feel it right now.
Well, I
You're gonna
think we're
find the
there. We
person.
are there. I can say that I've achieved it on all the new stuff that I haven't released yet, but will release this year. It's like, yeah, I don't know what locked in, but finally I'm there. Like the sound is there, and I'm so excited to release it. Yeah.
To me, it's like I was explaining to somebody when I was telling them that I was going to interview you today. And I was like, there's this pocket of artists that I'm looking for
Mhm.
that it's they haven't blown up yet as they should,
Mhm.
but I can hear it, I can see it,
Oh
I
wow.
can feel it. I can
Thank you.
feel it.
Thank
And
you.
I like there's been a couple of artists before I started doing this. There's a couple of artists that I watched and I was like, "Oh, you have something." And they're huge now.
Wow.
And there's very strange little pockets. One of them was Leve, and the other one was Lizzie McAlpine,
Oh
and the other
wow.
one was
Yeah. She's
Jake
great.
Wesley Rogers.
I
Those three
love
people.
Jake. I saw him live. I
Did you?
went
I bet
to
he is phenomenal.
and so such a sweet like hearing him talk about his songs because he's a writer. Like he's a singer. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a singer.
yeah,
He's an image. He's an icon, and he's a
yeah.
writer. It's like just seeing his and a true mystic. I will say, like a true mystic. Um, and I can feel his mysticism in his writing as well, and his openness to life itself. It's truly inspiring, and I got to witness it, and it was like a label event that his management label company was putting out, and so it was a small venue, and just getting to see him perform some of those songs was so healing, truly.
Yeah, I just loved him. I remember seeing him, and then we're talking like 4 years ago,
Yeah,
and I saw him doing something, and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
so cool.
And and I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. Let me find you first, not because I want the exclusive, but just because I want to recognize and literally tap you on the shoulder and be like, don't ever fucking give up.
Yeah,
Don't ever fucking give in to the BS. Don't listen to the nonsense. Don't let them get you wrapped up in the bullshit.
yeah,
Protect your mental health above all else.
yeah. It's real.
Protect your instrument, which is your voice and your performing body that helps bring us in so that we can continue to get music from you
Well, I love that
because
you said that about like self-care and protecting your mental health because it's so silly. But on Instagram, before the beginning of this year, they had like this little crossword, like what's that thing where you there's a bunch of letters and you try to find words in it? Like
just a
crossword part. Yeah,
crossword.
crossword,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a crossword puzzle.
And they were like the first three words that you find are your mantra for this
Oh,
year.
I love those. I love
And you know, I
those.
don't know if it is mystical. I think it's just like our
I love them.
subconscious, you know, like our
Yes.
subconscious finds
Yes.
energetically where we're at. And the three words, and I never like take this seriously, but the words like shook me. And I was like, oh, yes, this is my year. It was, and one of them I didn't resonate with, but it's the one I needed. Now I realize the first
Mm,
one was creation, obviously. And I was
yes.
like, I am so creatively activated right now. Like, this is my year. And I'm excited to release it into the world. Like,
Yes.
fuck yes, like creation. I don't have to force it. It's like
Yes.
everything is inspiring right now. The second one was power, and I was like, ooh, that is such like a word that I think I am afraid of, like what power means.
Mm,
But I think I am accessing my power in a way that I have never before. And it's like power is just something that you don't grasp at, but it's something that you've earned because of the life that you lived. And I just felt it. I was like, yeah, like that's my word for this year. And the last one was self-care. And self-care feels so gimmicky to me. It feels so like I don't know, I'm gonna take a spa bath or something. But no, it's deeper than that. It's like plugging
right.
into community. It's like it's rest. It's slowing down when things are overwhelming. And especially at the pace that I'm going this year, just with content creation, almost done with the record, but still in the like thick of it. And just my intensity and the ambitions that I have for this year are extreme. And with that, you have to balance it with equal self care.
I saw a thing on Instagram because this is, these are the Bibles that we that we read now. It's called Instagram and TikTok. But anyway, I was reading the Bible Instagram, and it was talking about how self-care isn't just a list of taking a long bath, taking a long walk, going
Yeah.
outside for exercise, but more so where this person stopped doing all of those things, where they were going, did I journal today? Check.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do, instead of making it this list of things that they did, that it was more intuitive than that.
Yeah.
And so I think that self-care really is, my self-care and your self-care are going to be very different.
Mm-hmm.
The things that you need to bring yourself to a more grounded place, to
Grounded.
bring yourself
Yeah.
to a more creative place, to bring yourself to a more mindful place of how you're vibrating in the world for what you need to do, those are going to be your self-care things. And that is different for everybody. So maybe yours isn't taking a bath,
Yeah.
but maybe yours is sitting in a room in silence for 5 minutes where you're not really taking in any kind of music. And maybe you go, okay, let me just have my thoughts. That sounds absolutely terrifying to me, by the way. But
Yeah.
my mother used to ask me when I was a kid, do you ever like silence? I'm like, no,
Yeah. It can be a
never.
lot. It can be a lot. And I think for me it is for me recently it's been like routine of, I am going to the gym every morning and we're gonna have that ritual. Um and it's been, honestly, I have 3 cats and I love them so much.
Yeah, you have those hairless ones. What do they call them?
Sphinx cats, yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Um
that. I was like, oh, that's terrifying.
yeah, they're
Those
they're
cats scare me.
they're weird. One of them that's like truly hairless and he's pink. He looks like raw chicken. Um
See,
he's the
no.
he's the
I
best.
just feel like in the middle of the night, that would be very confusing for my brain. I'd be like, okay, okay, right, you're a cat.
It's weird, and
That's
they're
right.
so cut. Like I think because they're hairless, they need body
Oh,
heat. So they're so
warmth.
cuddly. But yeah, my 3 cats. Those are like. It sounds silly, but that's my self care and just like my
I
home life.
don't think that's silly.
It is. I guess it's not like truly. They are. They ground me because I'm just looking at these creatures that they're all primal instinct and they're all like, I don't know, just in the moment, they're present. And so they've
Yeah.
been my little gurus, my little teachers, and so
And they love
funny.
you.
And they do well, I don't know about that.
Oh, right.
Because
They're
their
cats.
cat, I know, and speaking of my little Jit, the hairless one, he ran away at Christmas time for a whole week. I thought it was over. Like I thought he was gone truly. And I was sobbing for the whole week. And then
Oh,
he shows
no.
up at our door like a week later, covered in
Like a
fleas.
bitch.
Yeah. And I was like, I think that shifted my view of cats. I'm like, no, they don't love me. They love that I feed them. But I love them.
Say,
I love
listen, I will be back. I don't know what to say. So I was gone for a week. I was on vacation.
literally
What?
him. Literally
I
him.
was doing self-care.
No, that was his self care. He needed freedom, and good for him. Like, I'm so happy that he got that.
Oh, oh, that's crazy. I can't even imagine. No, this is why I don't have pets. They stress me out. All of the, just everything about it. I don't want to love them too much. I love my children probably too much. I mean, not too much, probably enough, but it's scary,
It
right?
is.
It's
When
scary
you love
having them.
something, it's like you open yourself to loss and to the fear of change. And I think that's actually a theme in this record too, because
Uh,
yeah, this record is about resistance, about owning your power and uh rejecting the things that have harmed you, but it's also um I think in my work I'm confronting my fears. That's another thing of what I feel like is core to what I intend to do as an artist, is to
mm,
help us all look at the ugly, or look at what makes us uncomfortable and then ask why is that making me uncomfortable, like what
yes.
is that speaking to that I am unwilling to confront about reality, about myself. It's the unconscious part of ourselves, right? And that rules us if we don't confront it,
Right.
it.
Right. It's like the thing that you don't know that you're running around with that's leading you certain ways, and you
Yeah,
go, well, I didn't know that I was doing that because that's, well, you haven't even investigated it.
yeah.
It's
And
why is your first reaction X, Y, or Z?
exactly. And it's the subconscious, unconscious little monkey brain in us that motivates so much of our choices in life, and sometimes our cycles of dysfunction and trauma that and I'm speaking personally but also societally. Like, what are the things that we as a society we're so afraid to like look at? And even I keep bringing it back to the single, I'm sorry, but KFC Santeria, there is this uh morbidness to the single. There is a level of aggression and violence in it. Part of it is just, you know, the aspect of resistance and like stand up, you know, fight for what you believe in. So there's that appreciation of it. But then there's this critique of society. What are our societal violences that we are justifying? And maybe I'm talking about corporate and our like our entities that are kind of the oligarchs that are kind of ruling the country. Like, what are those societal violences that we are either complacent to or actively upholding?
Mm-hmm.
um Capitalism, you know, it's consumerism. It's these things that are actually, if we peel back the glamour of it, it's quite violent. And I'm asking us to get uncomfortable.
I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for your audience and your fans and the people that get to take this in. This is going to be a good time for them, and an eye opening and a enveloping and undressing at the same time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes.
That's what I'm getting from it. Okay. Um we'll talk at the very end of some of the stuff that you have upcoming, but let's skip to my getting to know you section. I call them my 7 rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
There are 7. They are not rapid. They're not rapid fired. They're slow. Some of them are thoughtful, some of them are ridiculous. I don't know why I call them rapid fire questions.
I love
I
it.
think
Hit
they were
me.
intended to be, but I don't actually even talk like that.
Well, we should try
Except
because I'm long-winded. So
okay, no. It's no, I like it because I feel like, this is the opportunity for the fans to get to know you a little better without me having to ask, who are you dating?
yeah, cool.
Or, like
Yeah.
I don't like questions like that. I'm trying to be not like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't
Yeah,
want to be that
I
person
get you.
that
Yeah.
gets into that. Okay. But I will ask, what would be your ideal vacation? Now, this could be a place or
Ooh,
things that you do or both.
I love that. Japan is at the top of my list. And Colombia, because I've been there as a child. I have pictures of it. I don't remember it, but that's me in Colombia. Um,
There I am in Colombia.
yeah, and my sister's gone and my family is gone, but just with life, I haven't been able to go. And specifically Colombia because I'm drawing so much inspiration from uh Colombian folk music. Actually,
Mm.
specifically, I was talking about that drum percussion
Hmm.
driven music. I've been hearing that in my spirit, in my head, in my soul. My creative instinct has been drawn to it. And then, like 2 years ago, I discovered bullerengue, which is this Afro-Colombian drum music. And I heard it and I literally, it was a spiritual experience of like true, like, holy shit, this is ancestral. Like, what has been drawing me is an ancestral call.
Wow.
Um,
I'll have to check that out.
oh,
I
you
have a
have to look it up.
feeling.
Like Petrona Martinez or Martina Carmago, like these artists that the genre is always led, not always, but typically led by a female vocalist. Always, which first off, I'm like, I love it. Like, that's my music. Like a female diva central, and then she's just surrounded by a drum circle. And that's it. It's drums and vocal and chanting. And like the men respond to she's the calling, she's leading, and the men respond.
It's like a siren.
Exactly. And I heard this genre, I was like, oh my God, this is like everything that I have
I
been
haven't even
trying
heard it,
to.
and I'm like
No, yeah,
excited.
yeah. Describing it, it's truly it gives me chills. And I heard it and I was like, this is it. This is it. And then after that, it's been exposure to vallenato and other, Colombian genres. But bullerengue has been the core reference of my music. And I'm expanding on it. I'm using the drum pattern and kind of like the core bullerengue, musical references, but I'm building upon it. It's dark, it's electronic. There's 808s on it now. Um, but yeah, Colombia and Japan, because I'm also like, I love Japanese culture. I love anime. I shouldn't say I love anime because then people ask me, "What do you watch?" I love manga. As a kid, I always
Okay.
I told you I was a like I would sketch and draw. It was
Hmm.
like manga in the style of Japanese cartoon manga. So
Yeah, my
that's
kids were
like,
really into it.
oh, I love it. And I think part of like my artistry now is just tapping into what childhood me was super stoked on. Because sometimes we inhibit that, like sometimes that
Why?
childhood
I'm really
wonder.
trying to go back. I want to be that girl.
I
She
think
was
that's what
hilarious.
I think. If we're doing life right, when we're old, wrinkled little old people, we're back to that child. Like I think that
Yeah.
is like how you do life right. So that's my
Yeah.
goal with my music, my art, is just to like tap back into his joy. Like 5-year-old me who, and I think my parents protected, like I will give them credit for like my childhood self, my 5-year-old self. There was so much shelter, and I like all the religion and all the shame came in like later, maybe around art school, right before that time. But
Hmm.
childhood, I remember this freedom of spirit, and just like no one could yuck my joy. Like it was,
Mm.
um and so I try to like access him all the time, because that and I was a dancer as a kid. Like I loved music. Oh my god, I loved, like there's so many stories of my grandma who would babysit me, and she'd be like, yeah, you would just like pull out all the cupboards, all our dishes, and like set up your stage, and you would put the bowls upside down, and you would have your auditorium, and you would just dance and sing. And I was obsessed with like music. It's just been in, I think I came, the mystic in me. I think I'm on this earth to create.
I agree
Um,
with you.
like that is my soul's journey in this life, or a core part. I think there's other things, but that is a core part of why
Hmm.
I am here.
I
And
agree.
so I chase that. And it's dance. It's upbeat music. It's stuff that is like heavy, and I'm confronting things as well, and I'm making you think, but I'm also like dance, because I feel like we work through our pain through dance, honestly.
It reminds me a little of Gaga in that
Mm.
there's like a underlying message, even though it's like a fun pop song. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
and what I love about dance in studying, because obviously, because I've been through shit, I've had to study healing and like
Right.
therapy and all these things. It's like so much of healing isn't always here. It's in the body. Like it's
It.
actually in the
Oh,
body. And so much somatic release is just in us shaking and getting shit out. And so like I even have a lyric in one of my songs, which is referencing Buyerenge. It's like one of the songs that is most obviously referencing the genre. And the lyric is turning my pain into new play. And that's what it is you convert,
mm.
it's just transmutation of energy. We convert pain into play, and it's through dance, it's through music, it's through expression.
I'm just in love with you. Okay. Number two, favorite concert you've ever attended and somebody that you would like to see in
Oh my
concert.
gosh. The two that are coming to mind are MIA. I saw her at a festival, and I adore her music first. I just love the percussiveness of it. It's so, it punches you in your face. And I respect, although I don't agree with most of maybe where she's arrived now, um, politically, and yeah, she's on her own journey, and I can respect that. But I respect about her specifically that she is real, and she she stands on her convictions, and I admire that about someone, even if I don't agree with them. I see with her that she's been canceled so much, and she does not give a fuck. She's like, yeah, I'm a pop star, but I'm gonna say what I want to say, and like if that currently is not what everyone agrees with, like I also think she's ahead of her time in a lot. She's a complicated person, but yeah, MIA, and I saw her live, and she was amazing. And then I saw Rosalia live during her Motomami tour, and I just relate to
She's
her so much.
delicious.
Oh, she's phenomenal. I relate to her so much. Also, our charts are pretty much very similar astrologically. So I think that is just
Hmm.
it's the Libra, it's the Virgo moon, it's the like, I get her. get her. And our Venuses are both in Scorpio. So she's a little witchy. There's a darkness to her too that I adore. So yeah, both of those were life-changing concerts I've been to.
Okay, who do you want to see? Who's on the list?
Ooh. Oh, let me mention Doja too. I saw Doechii and Doja. I saw Doechii open for Doja.
Shut
And
up.
and this was before like everyone was talking about Doechii. And I was kind of aware from her because she's also a Florida native, born and raised in Florida. And I was like, oh, this bitch is taking over. This bitch is taking over. Because I just don't think we've seen talent to the level of her excellence. I just don't think we've seen a pop star like her that truly is raising the bar
Come
uh,
on.
in a couple years. Like maybe
Come
Gaga,
on.
like Doja is one of them, I would say. But like Doechii is just a badass.
I
Sorry.
just saw her in the streets of Milan on the shoulder of her security guard going
Yeah.
then calming the crowds. And I was like, this energy.
No, power. But who do I
Yes.
want to
And I was
see?
going to tell you the power and it's just a side note just for you and me. But
Yeah,
I do think your power is you.
it's
The
us. Yeah,
power is
within us.
you. It's
You know.
you. It's you being the version of you that is today, that is happening. That's the power. The power
Yeah.
is you.
Yeah, it's not something you do, it's something you are.
Right. It's
Um,
just it's you being you. It's you inhabiting you. Like I feel like, my most powerful self right now because I finally went, I don't give a fuck that I'm almost 50 years old and starting a new venture and I'm one of 6 million podcasts. I don't give a fuck.
so cool.
I'm going to do it. And if I talk to, I don't care, whatever. Somebody asked me, how long are you going to do this? I said, hopefully till I die. And she was
And
like,
that's
okay.
magnetic. Like that power pulls people in. And
Right.
it's not
And
a
inspires them to
ins-
do their powerful thing.
well, that's what true power is. And I think I
Right.
question that with,
Right.
I always come back to culto.
Right.
What is this false kind of mimicry of power that we see in cult
Right.
leaders, it's
Right.
manipulation. It's different. That's not
Right.
power.
No.
That's
Dictatorship.
dictatorship. And it brings the worst out in people. It
Right. And
oppresses.
it's not about them
It hinders.
personally.
Yeah, no, it
Yes.
hinders people.
It's not too open.
And there's charisma, right? Like I love studying
Right.
cult leaders. There is a charisma. There is some sort of wisdom, but there's a perversion of true liberation. And there's a
Right.
manipulation of people. And so I think true power is not commanding. Like it doesn't
Right.
demand it. It just is. And so
And
I would hope that I grow in that as I continue to
yes,
create
you
art. Yeah.
will. You will. Gosh, okay. Most overrated and underrated holiday.
Oh, I love Halloween. I will say
I'm shocked.
it's been so underrated in my life. Yeah, I know, right? Um,
I was never allowed to trick or treat. I get you.
well, that's why I love it so much because like it was just awkward. Like there was this tension of it in childhood. It was like Satan's day, and stories of
We
like
hid from the trick or treaters like they were
yeah.
devils coming to our door.
And my parents were cool in the sense we would do like harvest festivals. Like they rebranded it, right?
Yeah, I
Um
drowned in apples. Yeah.
yeah, it was rebranded. And I think my birthday is September, October. It's just like around there. So Halloween and fall in general I love it. Fall in Kentucky was like just seeing the leaves turn was so beautiful. But
Mm.
I will say for me, Halloween has always been underrated. So now it's now I love it. So it's always been overrated. Like it's been out of touch. So now like I love Halloween. So that's my favorite holiday, and my least favorite, Easter. No,
Because of the bunnies, right? You ate
it,
chocolate. That's
it's
what
the
it is.
bunnies that do it for me. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I hate a bunny. Okay, weird food combo that only you enjoy, or something that you feel like we should try that's like super amazing.
Like food combo, you said?
Yeah, food.
Um, I have a weird. My taste is kind of funny. I mean, I'm very open. I love trying new stuff. We went to Korean barbecue and I had frog legs. Not Korean, it was like Korean skewer type restaurant. I had frog legs. That was dope.
Okay.
I
Were
liked
they
it.
fried?
Yeah, fried
Okay.
kind of.
Everything's good fried.
Yeah,
Except bugs. I'm not into fried bugs. And I know
I
that's a
wanna
thing in some cultures.
I wanna try I'll try everything once. I
I had a
love
friend that went somewhere that had fried bugs. I was
yeah.
like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, I guess if it's not something we grew up on, but I love trying something at least once. But what am I into? I love because I'm super hyper conscious about like getting my protein goals every day. So I love hard boiled eggs. I could eat those like any day for every meal,
Just the
always.
salt and pepper.
Easy.
Just
Keep
okay.
it simple. Yeah.
Okay. What is the kindest thing anyone has ever said or done for you?
Oh wow. I am grateful because I feel like I've experienced a lot of kindness in my life. Um, I'm trying to think. Like, I think specifically when I was like at rock bottom, there was just friends that came out of the woodwork that were just held space for me. And I was still in the middle of my process of like actively unpacking a lot of ideologies. So I was just like talking and just saying, yeah, just like talking out loud. And they just kind of helped me process. I feel like just that because my childhood, I guess, because of my queerness was super isolating. Like I mentioned, like I had never come out to anyone. And so there were just like a few core people that when I was finally coming out, you know, because when I was in the church, I would come out, I was like, oh, I struggle with homosexuality, but I don't act on it, you know? Like there was that phase of my life too. But then there was after that where it was like, hey, no, I think this is like who I am and I think I'm gonna like embrace it. And there were just a few key people in Florida and just random friends, you know, like honestly random people that I wasn't that close with, but they were just there was a softness. Um and actually another artist you should check out. I don't even know if she realizes how important this moment was, but this was while I was touring in Ecclesia and I was playing a show and she attended and I loved her music cuz actually my co-producer for a while Bala Mandala, now he goes by Jin, but he was producing for her too. Anyways, we talked in the back room afterwards and I was like, I love your music, your production's amazing, your voice is one of my favorite. And I was like, we just started talking about our stories and I told her like I struggle with homosexuality, but you know, she's like, oh well, I have a gay friend and like I'm cool with it, like I don't think it's a sin. And I was so triggered, I was like, it's a sin, of course it's a sin, you know, my conditioning, you know. So I was like in it, you know, like I had to be that fundamentalist because I was trying to stay Christian. And something about her energy was so gentle and so open. And it was so offensive to me in the moment, but it shifted something in me because I was like, how is her energy so right? Like, whatever she has, this flow state of her is correct. And I knew my intuition knew something was right about her, and I was not flowing.
You
But
weren't there yet.
I wasn't there yet, but I couldn't accept it, so it shook
Hmm.
me. But feel and I look back at that moment with so much fondness and kindness. Like it feels like kindness, and yeah, it's just a special moment. Her name is Emily Brimlow. Please check out her music. She's
Okay.
phenomenal.
I remember hearing what's his name? Dan Levy talk about Schitt's Creek
Yeah.
and how um they didn't want the gayness to be part of the story really.
Mm,
It just existed.
yeah.
It wasn't something where he came out as gay.
Yeah.
He just was. And it
Yeah.
was never a conversation, and that's how they wanted it.
Yeah.
And I think for the first time in my adult life, I realized, like, oh, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be that people have to come out or they have periods of time, a period of time where they're closeted. It's like we don't say, "Are you going to get a little girlfriend? Have you gotten yourself a little girlfriend?" When we're talking to a little boy or a boyfriend or whatever. We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
saying that because I talked about it with my son the other day, and I was like, I think that we've got to get to the point where we say something different?
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you like without gendering them?
Yeah.
And I was like in such a shift from even what I thought when I was a kid. I mean, there were no, I didn't know any gay people when I was 10.
Yeah.
And then the gay things that I heard about, I mean, you're talking about when I was 10, it was 1986.
Hmm.
Some things were really happening in the gay community where they were being villainized
Yeah.
because of the AIDS epidemic. And, um, we had, my personal family had a very personal story about that within our church. And it really impressed upon me. I'm like, I just don't understand what else. What are the other options? Like, there are no men that can be married to men. So what are the options for those people but to be married to, like, and I mean, I couldn't fully make it make sense in my brain, but I just remember questioning, like, well, what are they supposed to do? I don't get it.
Well, it's horrible because what is being said by society is these people can disappear. Like, really, there's no place for them in our society. And
Which
we're
they're trying to do right now with the trans community.
exactly, is that's what I'm getting at. It's we're there. There's always a marginalized people. There's always a scapegoat. Throughout history, it repeats itself. There will always
Right.
be empire will always find the scapegoat to demonize and to point all of our issues that they are the cause of it, and they're not. They never are. It's always a small,
It's so
vulnerable
weird.
population, and it's infuriating. And I think I am angry, and I think it's in my work, and I've learned to accept my anger and to let it motivate action. And I hope that that's
And
what
creating art is part of that
the
action,
action.
giving that. I've said a lot of times in these interviews, it's like, without you making this music, without you putting those words to paper, without you adding a beat and adding a piano and adding whatever, all the things that you add, all the production that you put in, then you put it out into the world and you give it to somebody. You don't know what's going to happen when somebody takes that in 2 years from now that needed that word, that thought, that feeling to help them process where they are in their lives because of a process that you were at 4 years ago.
100%.
Like, you don't realize it's a huge ripple effect. And music is so incredibly powerful, being in an art form, that I couldn't survive without it. I really don't think I could live without it. And I
And
love it so much.
and it's important because I think for me, music coming from a worship background is it had to be love and light. It had to have this like positive, like, and I still want that. The positivity, the love and light is core to it. But I think love and anger can be held by love. And I think that that's something that I was so afraid of my own anger. I repress it, actually, if anything, just because I'm a gentle person, and I'm always trying to see things through other people's perspective. And then sometimes you just need to get pissed off. Like,
Right. Enough where you go, I get where you're coming from, and yet that doesn't serve
and
the
yet you're
person that
still
I'm trying to be.
and yet you're still harming people. Are being harmed.
Right.
And it's anger out of justified anger for the vulnerable. And I think, my background's in Christianity.
Mhm.
Jesus got pissed off too. And I
Right.
think, and maybe this is my journey and not everyone else, but I've repressed my anger for a long time. And I think it's like I'm unleashing it in this record in a very intentional way, where it's my journey to do it in this way. And I think it's timely for what's happening in the world as well.
I agree. I think it's needed. People should be pissed off.
Yeah, and because that's what enables empire. It's what we allow is what happens. And if
Yes.
we
Our
don't care enough,
passivity
like,
is not good.
passivity is, yeah, thank you for saying that word. That is the word that is almost what I am fighting against. Like, we cannot be passive in these times. It's what's justifying what's happening in Gaza, with
Mhm.
Palestine, and oligarchs and presidents that put themselves in position of kingship and boasting about how they're going to turn Gaza into a strip where you're all going to want a vacation on. Like, that fucking pisses me off, like, it's, and it starts with anger, and then I cry, like, that's what you
Mhm.
don't see is like I sob myself to sleep because of the shit, and like just the reality of suffering in this world. because anger and sadness and
Mm-hmm.
mourning are two
Mm-hmm.
sides of the same coin,
Mm-hmm.
and both can lead to action. And I think that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's like, as long as it's not passivity,
Mm-hmm.
it will move us towards the right direction, I believe.
Apps. I don't know if I want to use the word divine, but I want to use the word something lined up a couple of days ago when I
Hmm.
when I fell across
Oh.
your video.
Oh.
Like there was just, I mean, I've done, this is, one of the things I try to do. I'm like, let me interview you. And I'm just in the hopes that somebody will go, okay, I don't know who the fuck you are, but sure. And you did. And I can't thank you enough, because I really feel like, though I feel like music is really important, I feel like the story behind the person helps connect. I became a fangirl. This is how this happened. I became a fangirl, and I experienced music for the first time outside of church and felt like I was having that same religious experience,
Wow.
where it felt like worship, where it felt there was a whole community, where love was all around me, where I felt
Wow.
joyful. And I was like, I thought this only happened at church. I thought this was only God centric. What's going on here? Until I realized that it's not only is it just music, but it's energy that we're putting into it, with our words, with the sounds. It's physically vibrating us. That's part of that feeling that we're all getting. And
Wow.
so, okay, if that's the case, and I've loved music my whole entire life, but I thought the center was Jesus. But the center is, to me, love. Love is the center. And if love is going to be omitted, then it needs to be omitted in creativity. Therefore, art is the form, and music is my favorite form of art. So help me get the message out of the people that are making this art, so they can keep making it, because I want you to be protected, and I want you to feel loved, and I want you to feel open, and I want people to understand the process of like what you guys have to go through in order to be able to put the single out that you're putting out on the 13th. That didn't just like, well, that was just like one random day and I was just feeling whatever, and
Mm.
so I just wrote. Like, there's a whole process that's come behind, a huge story that's come behind that single,
Yeah.
that's got you to that sound.
And to your point, I love that you're bringing up the magic of that feeling of, because I've been blown away. Even, it's one little video that's getting, circulating the algorithm right now, but seeing the community, like I didn't expect, like you're saying, the love and the positivity, because the song has grit to it. I'm saying potentially friction causing offensive things, but it's almost like they know my heart, like they understand why I'm saying this, and it is not just to piss people off. It's because there's things that do need to be changed, and people are feeling represented, even just like people from Kentucky and Florida. It's like, and maybe that's why I love folk music, like, because like I'm telling you, the references are buyerenge, which is Colombian folk music, and bluegrass, Kentucky Appalachian folk music. Folk music is the music of the people. It's the people's music. Like, it's actually the music that birthed out of the instruments that we have, that we can create in our backyard. And folk is a style too. Like, a lot of, you'll see in the video, there's stylistic things that I'm using, like things that you'd find that are accessible to you. And I love that. I hope my art continues to do that and creates like a community, like you're saying, that is similar, because it's so hard now in this society to find community outside of institutions like church and stuff. So I hope my art and the world that I intend to build around it creates like a fun, cool community, that's not culty, like fucking like what I've experienced in the past, if you know what I mean.
Right. And I think that's possible. My son, when I first started doing this, he was like, Mom, be careful. You could easily be a cult leader, so just don't. And I was like, I don't know what you mean by that. And I don't know if I should take offense. I would be a great cult leader, except it would be open and people can do whatever the fuck they want. Therefore, it would not be a cult. Whatever. It's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Okay, it doesn't actually qualify. Okay, what about a personality pet peeve? I feel like we just could have talked about a lot of them, but you can pick a cutesy one.
Yeah.
Something that just gives you the ick. Somebody does it. Or it could be serious.
I'm very like I'm like highly considerate of like little things. Like I just like to see people um I don't like people that suck the room out of the air out of a room. I don't mind big personalities. I'm not one. Like I'm much more I don't need to be the center of attention. I like one-on-one convos. Like that's my joy. Like I love
Mm,
just hearing people's story
same.
and like yeah, that's why you're doing this obviously.
Right.
I live for just like the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Um but I feel like people that suck the air out of a room just like needing to be I love I love talking, obviously, like I'm long-winded, and I love sharing my thoughts, but I also love listening. So, like a bad listener annoys me.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It's very hard when I do this because I'm like I'm like, I'm heading. Okay, hold on. Just okay. What are your words to live by?
Oh, I don't. Oh, that's so hard.
Think about just this year. Because I feel like when you try to do your whole life and it's always been this, I feel like that changes too much. So I like to think, what are your words to live by this year? What are you repeating over and over in your head right now?
What's the mantra? I told you those three words, but I think I think pace myself. Yeah, it's probably to pace myself because and I tell my team like I am a workhorse and I can become a machine. Like as I am an artist and that is a part of who I am, but also there's this monster in me that is has intense ambition and drive. And in fact, I think I thrive better under intensity and like pressure of like we're pushing stuff out the pace at which we're going.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to pace yourself, I've realized. So I think that's something I'm always keeping in the back of my mind of like you're pushing yourself and you're pushing your limits, which is amazing. I always want to be in over my head a little bit, just a little bit. But it's to gain perspective to realize like, okay, this is uh I need to stay grounded as well. And so that's something I'm always for this year, it's pace yourself as well. Like run, go, push, and pace yourself.
It's a hard balance.
It's balance, yeah.
Okay, what do we have um, coming up? Tell me about what's kind of planned for this year for you.
Yeah, so KFC Santeria in the near like next week. Wow, it's gonna be out
Yes.
next week. I'm so excited. And then we have pretty much a single every month. Like we have a rollout and each single is getting like I have 120 pieces of content for KFC Santeria alone. And then a
Okay,
music
how do you plan your content? Give us a little insight for those artists out there who struggle with the marketing and the promo portion of their job, which some people are like, what?
it's so hard.
I was just gonna sing a song. I
Well,
just
I
want to
will
share my song.
say that's why pace yourself is so important because what I am doing this year is very unsustainable, like long term. Like I can't
Okay.
do this for 3 years. Like this, I
Okay.
am running the short, what's it called? Like the
The
sprint.
short end of the stick.
Yeah, I'm running the sprint right now, and
Right.
the perspective is this is not sustainable, but I need.
Burning the candle at both ends,
Yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Maybe.
That's what
That's
I'm
what I
doing.
meant.
Yeah, it's I told my label I was like, I've been making good art, but none of it has been breaking, and it's because I'm not marketing it well. I have not marketed one single correctly. I just told them that. I was like, I can call myself out. I have not marketed it well. I've been focusing too much on the art and I needed to. I needed to get the concept. I needed to find what I like hone in my artistic identity. I think I was
Okay.
still even 2 years ago still doing that. Um but then I felt like something locked in and I said, okay, now we need to market it. Like properly market this. And so I just said we need to flood the algorithm, and we have other like techniques that we're going to work on too. But I was like, at least on the content front, I want to post 2 to 3 times a day for every single. Like essentially, every post is a mini music video, with its own background, and I want
Yes.
to tell the story. I want it to be high art. I don't just want it to be influencer-ish. Yes, we can do that stuff too, but we'll do trends, we'll do all that bullshit, but I want it to feel like art, like I am creating arts, and I want a music video, and I want to essentially repeat that every month for every single until it breaks, you know? Which is really happy for me to see, like, even just the first week of me starting this with KFC. Truly, like, last week I started posting like the actual content.
Okay, well, that's how I hadn't seen you. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
thinking, this kid has not been on the scene for any, like, because I look every
Yo,
single
no,
day.
when I told you I was in hiding for like this last year,
Okay.
um, it's been like, you don't know how happy I am that the first week that I actually start rolling out my marketing plan, like, it's working. It's like I'm like, oh shit, and they don't even know that I have like so
There's so
much
much more to come.
more coming. So it's like, because I was like, eventually, you know, maybe a month in, something will take off, but I'm like, oh my god, first week, this is a good sign,
No,
and we just got
this
to
is where
repeat
you
it. We just
want
got
to
to
be.
repeat it, you know. But so I'm not jinxing it, but anyways,
No, you're not. I'm telling you, I in my insides, in my jiggly little vibrating whatever the things are, like I feel it.
oh
I
wow.
feel it, and when they get an opportunity to see what you are like on the flip side, oh, they're gonna be in love.
Thank you for
They're
saying
gonna,
that. That's why I was stoked to do this interview, because my label's always like, you have a crazy story. Like, how do we tell this? Because I
yeah,
feel like we haven't told, like, you have actual lore. They joke about that. They're like, you have lore. Yeah, this is like the first interview we're properly doing for this whole rollout. So I'm happy it's you. I love your energy.
oh,
And
thank you so
thank you for
much.
like being one of the first people to like believe in the vision. Like, we really just launched, honestly. So like, it's sick.
It's so fucking exciting. You have no idea what I was like yesterday. I was insufferable, insufferable. I love your story. I feel like it's a really important story. I don't think it ever gets old. I know some people go, it's just old hearing about people and they're who's closeted anymore. It's like, people are closeted.
Yeah.
People are not telling. People are hiding it from their family, from their community. And that's still something that we've got to stop telling them is necessary. It hurts my feelings so bad. And I didn't even grow up that way. But I
Well,
felt
yeah.
stifled in different ways. And anyway, I just wish that wasn't part of it. But what, we're gonna do our part.
Well, you know,
We're gonna do our part.
you're right. I mean, it is, there's a lot of positivity, and it's good to see a new generation of queer artists
Yeah.
grow up in a world where there's so much less hatred and backlash towards them. And so I have so much hope, just that, like, yeah, even Gen Z, because I'm the cusp. I'm the last year of, no, I'm the first year of Gen Z, but I'm like right in between millennial and Gen Z. But yeah, like, there's a whole new generation that doesn't have the bullshit that I grew up with as a
Right.
child. And so that gives me hope to know that, because we are actively experiencing like this uh cultural pushback to progress right now in America, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a response to the overwhelm of what will come, which is progress. It will come. So this is like a last little fight, you know, of just like,
Welcome.
no, like, we are cementing ourselves in how things used to be, on the greatness
Well,
of an old America that wasn't actually great, but to them, in their eyes, white supremacy is great, you know. Um, but it's the last little hurrah for them. So it's frustrating, it's angering, and unfortunately, it will have real effects because of the Supreme Court, and like, this is gonna affect us for years to come. But in the end, progress will come. So I keep that hope, you know.
we have to do our part. We are doing our part. I've opened the door. You have opened the door. We keep our doors open and keep the love flowing. I do want to thank you again so much for agreeing to do this with me today. I feel like your story is probably familiar
Mm.
to some people. It may be surprising to some, but I hope that as you move through this world, that you continue to find spaces that accept you for who you are today and who you're going to be in the future, and that you continue to ever evolve and never be afraid of the power that is within you,
Mm.
that is authentic you, that can be continuously changing, and that as you put music out in the world, that you continue to challenge us, make us think, to evolve, to let go, and that you get the right people around you, and that you take care of yourself so that you can pace yourself, so that we can continue to get music from you for a very, very long time.
Thank you so much, Heather. It's been a great convo.
Oh, I loved it. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to everything that you've got coming, and we'll look forward to the single coming out March 13th. It'll probably be out by the time this comes out, but I'm really excited. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Heather. See ya.
All right. Talk to you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Bye.